Everyone to today's History for Lunch. My name is Robin Petzold and I'm from the Johnson County Historical Society. We have two presenters today who are going to be speaking on one of the lesser known Iowans who had quite an effect on history. We seem to be coming up with more and more stories of history changers who were quieter, and that seems to be somewhat characteristic of Iowans. Today we have Dr. Myron Brown and Dr. Jean Drazo who will be talking on Dee Dee Palmer, and I've been told to introduce one is the brain and one is the good looks of the team, and I'm not going to say which is which. We're going to leave it that way, and I'm going to turn it over to them.
Thank you very much. I'm the brains and the good looks, but we got to help him out somewhere.
I'll just hold you up.
I'm Dr. Jean Drazo, and I practice 10 miles south in Johnson County in a little hamlet called River Junction, and have been a practicing chiropractor for 18 years now. And prior to that, I was a sociologist historian, so that's part of my interest in the history we're about to present. My good friend Dr. Myron Brown, who practices in West Liberty, and I got together about, what had been 3 years ago now. We thought, well, what a great idea. Why don't we do a public access show concerning the history of chiropractic? Well, we realized that we probably didn't know enough to talk 10 minutes on a really good show one time. So we said, well, we need to start doing our research. And so we collected books, and there was a real fine biography of Dee Dee Palmer, the founder of chiropractic, done within the last few years, and so that became our source book for the beginning of this. Would you like to say a little more about where we went from there?
Well, sure. Initially, it's interesting to note that Iowa is actually known all over the world for other than just its corn. Iowa happens to be the birthplace of the chiropractic profession, and there are many people who originally came to Iowa just to be involved with chiropractic, and that is because Dee Dee Palmer founded the chiropractic profession in Davenport, Iowa. The year was 1895, but the subject about which we're interested predates that. We're going back to the 1870s for what we're looking at. It seems as though Dr. Palmer came from Canada, and when he first came to the United States, he was a school teacher in the area of Muscatine County and Louisa County on the Iowa side, and in Mercer County on the Illinois side of the river. And in the 1870s, he owned an acreage of about 10 acres near New Boston, Illinois. And during that time period, he operated an apiary and a nursery raising raspberry plants. He actually had his own hybrid raspberry that he developed, shipped them all over the country, and became rather well known and successful in the farming field, and at one time was known to have been the largest producer of honey in the entire country. Would you like to say more about that?
Dee Dee Palmer apparently had gone from being a teacher, and by the way, we are working on a paper and project. We hope we can turn it into another documentary video on Dee Dee Palmer's teaching experience. He taught in 4 different townships in Louisa County, taught in Muscatine, and taught in New Boston. So he had a teaching experience of about 6 years in one-room schoolhouses. New Boston was actually a step up. He taught in intermediate school, which was quite a fine building. The school building that was built down there was the first school that had electricity and heat, and it was 2 stories. So we're trying to flesh that out now. But this particular 10-year period covers 1871 to 1881 approximately. And Dee Dee Palmer apparently wanted to get married. He had been a single man, and he thought, well, I better come up with a way to earn more money. And so he purchased 10 acres of land between Muscatine, Iowa, and New Boston, Illinois, and proceeded to start this nursery and apiary. We are blessed with rich, rich journals that he kept that now have been photocopied and we had at our disposal. He kept very elaborate notes. He would tell you, for instance, what the bees were feeding on a particular day, and on and on and on. And because of these rich journals, we have the basis for what became this video. In reading the book, we realized that we didn't exactly know where these 10 acres were. And so that started our quest, was to find the 10 acres of land that D.D. Palmer called Sweet Home.
I might say that that may seem like a very simple thing to do, especially in view of the fact that there were journals that he had kept at the time, and it really wasn't that far away. But it actually took us, the better part of a year to locate the 10 acres of land, and it became a little bit of an odyssey for us, several trips into the area, and several mistakes along the way. And somewhere along the way, we also decided we needed to carefully document what we were doing, because this really didn't start out as a history project. It just started out as fun for us. It was a little bit of an adventure or sleuthing around, that kind of thing. Long before founding a new profession, D.D. Palmer lived on an acreage along the Mississippi River near New Boston, Illinois. Although teaching school originally led him to the New Boston area, he operated a successful apiary and nursery for approximately 10 years. Perhaps more remarkable than the extraordinary volume of honey production was his development of the Sweet Home raspberry. Affectionately named after his farm, which he called Sweet Home, the plants were shipped all over the country. This story chronicles the process of two amateur historians out for adventure and fun as they seek their chiropractic roots.
The creation of chiropractic by D.D. Palmer in Davenport, Iowa in 1895 is connected to the economic and political ironies of the times preceding the Civil War in the United States. Large migrations of Americans to Canada caused economic turmoil. As a result, the Thomas Palmer family, and later D.D. Palmer and brother T.J., immigrated to the United States. In his biography of D.D. Palmer, Vern Gilo observed that the creation of the canning jar by John Mason in 1857 was an essential factor in D.D. Palmer's vocation as a horticulturist. The mason jar made it possible for fruits and vegetables to be preserved for long periods of time. This allowed D.D. Palmer to build a business in the production of raspberries and the selling of nursery stock. Our first stop was New Boston, Illinois. It was our hope to locate longtime residents or a local newspaper office, library, and/or the city offices. In preparation, we consulted D.D. Palmer's original journal with his notes on beekeeping and honey production, the creation and propagation of the Sweet Home raspberry, and a grid map showing where he planted different kinds of trees. What you're viewing are his original handwritten notes from his journal. This town started after Abraham Lincoln did all the surveying of the area.
We're looking for
In 1834 he did that.
Is that an official beach? Collins Beach? What
Have you
is
been
that?
here before?
Hoffenbarger.
I was here once before.
Hoffenbarger?
Abe Lincoln
Banking
Hotel.
office, chapel.
Hotel.
Mill and Don's place. Moving over to Mill and Don's place. Used to be here City Hall.
That's the official building I had in mind.
Could I just open the back?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Great building.
Now, this actually looks like the main part of the river. I appreciate
I'll
you
give the
doing
key and you guys go ahead and go through, everything,
Sure.
and then she'll get there back.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
She does all of our genealogy and all that.
Oh, wonderful.
She's great.
Wonderful, yeah.